This is a laptop you might have never heard of, and it can do something that no other PC in the world can do. And it's not what you think. It's called the StarLab, and it costs $3,000. That makes it more expensive than most gaming laptops out there, which begs the question, what makes this thing special? It's not like it has an RTX 4090 inside or anything. It actually has an A105800U, which is a pretty average chip made by AMD. The screen is also pretty ordinary for a laptop at 16 by 9 and only Full HD resolution. There are better screens out there with higher resolutions and faster refresh rates. The build quality feels pretty good for a $3,000 laptop, okay, but it doesn't scream premium like other devices at this price point. It's just plastic with some nice textures and a big logo on the back. So if it's not the specs, then what's all the fuss about? Well, it's all about that display. You see, the screen on this laptop is special because it's the first mainstream laptop display to ever have micro LED technology. It's a 22-inch 4000 display with absolutely insane pixel density. We're talking 218 pixels per inch. For comparison, the MacBook Pro has 256 pixels per inch, and the XPS 15 has around 163. So this thing has nearly double the pixels of those displays. When I was watching videos on this thing, it was like looking through a window. It's really weird to describe a screen as immersive, but I feel like this one almost is. The level of detail is just crazy. When I was looking at photos, I could literally see the individual brush strokes of the artist. It was kind of breathtaking, to be honest. The problem with high pixel density displays like this is that they tend to be very reflective. Like you can see all of the lights and the bulbs in the ceiling. So it does kind of get in the way when you're watching content in a bright room. But if you plan on doing most of your work at night or in a dark room, then this won't be a problem. Micro LED displays like this are usually reserved for ultra high-end TVs and monitors. So I'm surprised that we're seeing this technology in a laptop, albeit a very expensive laptop. The colors look great, they're super vibrant, and the contrast ratio is phenomenal. There's no bleeding or blooming in the corners either. It's a very crisp display overall. And unlike old displays, there's no risk of burn in here since it's not an organic display. The backlight is controlled by tiny little LEDs, so those individual pixels can turn off when they're not being used, which is great for battery life. It's definitely not as good as old in terms of efficiency, but it's still pretty good. I got around 6 hours of use before needing to charge. Now there is one more downside, and that's the fact that it's a 60 Hz panel. It just doesn't make sense to put a high refresh rate panel in a laptop like this because you'd need to be sitting right up close to it. I mean, I sat about an arm's length away from this laptop and I couldn't see a single pixel, so why bother? But let's say you sit further back, then you might notice some blurriness when moving objects around on the screen. But that's not really noticeable unless you're paying attention. Overall, I think this is the best laptop display I've ever seen. It's just so incredibly sharp that everything on the screen basically looks like it's printed on a piece of paper. There's also an anti-reflective coating on the screen, which helps a lot in bright rooms, but it's not perfect. And of course, the anti-reflective coating is a bit of a fingerprint magnet, so be prepared to clean it often if you plan on using this outside. The speakers sound okay. They're not amazing, but they're definitely better than most laptops out there. I also love the keyboard. It's very comfortable to type on, and I love how clicky it is. The trackpad is solid too, but I wish it was a little bit bigger. It's a bit hard to reach the edges with my thumb. The ports are fine. There's a Thunderbolt for port, USB 3.2, a headphone jack, and an SD card slot. There's also Wi-Fi 6E, which gives you really fast speeds, but I'm surprised there's no fingerprint scanner or facial recognition. For a $3,000 laptop, it seems a bit outdated. Now the funny thing is that this is actually their second laptop. Their first one had terrible performance because they tried to use a discrete GPU with it. But that's not the case here. The integrated graphics handle this display just fine. Look, I get that this laptop isn't for everyone. It's super expensive, and it's not even really meant for gaming or heavy productivity. It's just for people who want the best display possible. But I think it's cool that this technology exists, and I can't wait to see it in more mainstream devices. This is the first time I've ever reviewed a laptop that didn't have any major issues. Sure, there are a few things that could be better, but overall this thing is a winner in my books. And I think it's worth considering if you want the ultimate laptop display.